that gives a narrative to all that has happened. So I'm telling them, look, you guys, beginning in this year, I began to be robbed. I was bludgeoned in this year. I was stabbed in this year. It's my opinion that it all surrounds the release of my, at that time, husband, Dylan Smith, Y12173 from the IDOC. Everything that's taken place from there has been incredibly corrupt. I've called the parole offices. They haven't been able to help. I've called and gone to 555 West Harrison along with the Daily Center. I've done so on a live stream, meaning on Instagram Live, on YouTube Live, on TikTok Live, on Twitch, on any number of various platforms, Discord, on voice memos. I've made podcasts. I've taken photos and videos. So for 4 years, nothing has changed. For 4 years, nothing has changed in the way of my strategy for disproving the false, slanderous, and libelous rhetoric that has been continually pushed. Sorry, strategically placed windstorm when I'm making sense. People hate that. But yeah, so when you're dealing with a situation like this, you as the patient, as your own advocate, you have to be able to advocate for yourself. Say hi to my baby. When no one else is willing to do so for you. And it just so happens that my formal education and training is in medical law and ethics. And my informal education and training is in how to communicate. And that's marketing, sales, principles from each, principles of being heard when you are silenced, principles for getting attention to certain causes like in fundraising lessons and principles. So in the real world, there are a lot of ways to get yourself ready for situations like this. They're just not called, in any obvious name. Like, it's not like how to protect yourself in case someone is trying to steal your baby from you, or how to protect yourself in case someone has stolen your home from you and looked the other way while you were sexually human trafficked, beaten, robbed, bludgeoned, etc. and so forth, right? They don't make classes that are labeled as that. So you, as meaning me or whoever, as the educated and intelligent adult in the situation, the only one who's going to advocate for you, you have to start understanding that there are reasons people fundraise. Every fundraiser that is huge, every money generating experience, the ones that we all recognize by name and the ones that we don't, they've all started with one person having a problem. One person needing awareness to that problem, one person needing funding for that problem. And once you start learning basic principles of sales and marketing, you put yourself in a better position to advocate for yourself, because you're not simply asking for money, you're also asking for understanding. And with a lot of these situations, in order to receive the understanding that they deserve, you're also asking for people's time and their attention. And with social media, we've proven time and time again that people's time and attention spans are between 30 seconds and 2 minutes at a best case for most people. So the challenge is always not only being an effective communicator in that limited amount of time that you're permitted to communicate. Do you see this? Like, this is a joke. The whole morning, not a single gust of wind, but as soon as I get on a live feed, it's like a fucking tsunami. Unbelievable. Unreal. But not only in being an effective communicator, but also in finding ways to document for those cases where people don't have the extra 2 minutes to listen, where they walk out before they read what's going on, where they don't ask a question that needs to be asked, because they, at that point in time, can look back and you can verify, prove, and acknowledge that your story, your circumstances, your message has remained clear and unchanging. So, I'm very happy to report that I am 28 weeks pregnant. We're expecting Xavier's father to get us an apartment anytime now. You can see I'm very big, and we're very eager to start stabilizing. I told Xavier, like, I need my car, I need to travel to my children and bring them groceries every month. I need to bring my children back to my house if they want to have a sleepover. There are practical things going on in life that I need attended to and addressed besides just the pregnancy. The 7 closed tickets for help to shelter requests from 311, that would be a big, huge starting point for investigation. Why is no one doing anything about that? What the fuck is going on? No one should be left outdoors through the winter when they have already enlisted the assistance of the local government. As a matter of fact, I pulled up jurisdiction and legislation from various areas that all agree it is illegal, unlawful to leave people without shelter and food, especially when the temperature drops below 35 or 40 degrees. So it's printed in numerous different variations of and understandings of our constitutional rights, and in every state, but especially in cold states, that you cannot leave anyone outside without access to food or shelter. That for the society as a whole, you cannot leave people outside because people are not going to die. No one is going to curl up in a ball and say, well, I guess I die. People are going to go to the store. They're going to steal food. They're going to go get clothes when they're cold. And as they are ignored and resentment builds, they're going to strike back in various ways, and we've proven that time and time again. So I'm very happy that I was able to get this appointment. I am super suspicious about it because I'm not used to, I come from a medical background. As you guys know, I worked at Northwestern for 5 to 7 years, Alexian Brothers, Gottlieb, Loyola, like all of these systems combined, more than 10 years of medical office management, both front and back end. So that's clinical medical assisting, phlebotomy, which is drawing blood, injections, diabetic management, glucometer training, diabetic medication injection and administration training. I've worked for specialists ranging in fields from endocrinology to neurosurgery to gastroenterology to dermatology to primary care, and everything in between. Interventional cardiology. That was the first physician I ever worked with who taught me how to the sterile procedure for scrubbing into a surgery. And I've done everything on the back end, medical law and ethics. That was a whole 3 months of my learning, full-time, 8 hours a day, strictly dedicated to medical law and ethics, the administrative culture of what happens in a medical office. How can you bill? How legally can you bill? How much do you receive back? What happens if your doctors do something illegal? What is the moral and ethical standing and expectation of the medical office? So besides the clinical medical assisting portion and then the 4-year degree, which was business management with a focus on healthcare administration, I also did these other courses that were specialized in understanding the medical law and ethics, the HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. All of these things are ingrained deep within me because not only did I spend 5 to 10 years learning them, I also spent at least that working in a real world application of those ideas. So when I call a doctor for 6 months seeking assistance with my pregnancy and I'm not permitted to schedule, or the only doctor I'm allowed to see doesn't seem like she's even really a doctor in the first place, you can understand why I would be skeptical. Working at Northwestern, it was never a situation of a patient calling, asking for a referral and us saying, here's the one and only doctor you can see. Never has it ever been that way. It is our obligation as healthcare administrative professionals to be upfront with our patients and give them as much information as we have. That means choice. That means the power to choose. That means if you've recently been diagnosed with pregnancy, I'm going to give you 200 doctors, especially in the urban area of Chicago. I mean, we have thousands of obstetric doctors. I'm going to give you a list of all of them that take your insurance, and I'm going to allow you to decide what doctor you want to see. And that is the law. That is the ethical standard for healthcare and healthcare administration. That is what we are taught to do, and that is what should be done. This entire time, you guys, they've been giving me one doctor to choose from. I call directly to the state plan and say, look, there are certain life qualifying events that make a person capable legally, physically, and just morally able to wiggle out of any sort of pre-existing plan that they may have and put them into a period of what we refer to as open enrollment, which means you're not stuck to the insurance plan that you had last year. Some of those life qualifying events are new genetic disorders. So say, for instance, your mother got diagnosed with some sort of autoimmune disorder and you just found out, but none of the doctors that your insurance takes in your area will see anyone for that, issue. You're now in a period of, I believe, 30 to 90 days where you can change plans and change primary medical homes so that you can see someone who can specifically cater to your needs. Pregnancy, childbirth, those are also life qualifying events. So there are numerous life qualifying events that permit a person to switch their insurance plans legally. That if some sort of insurance plan denied the client the ability to do so, would result in tremendous amounts of liability, lawsuits, a lot of fucked up shit, a lot of money. So what needs to happen is, are you going? Okay, be careful. Babe, see if they have this flavor or sherbet. No, not this one, the green one or sherbet, if you get that. If not, just water and a chocolate croissant.
Here or later?
Yeah, put it in here. Thank you. Okay. And all of this too, please. Hand it back to me. Let me get rid of all of this.
Find my goddamn socks.
Here. Love you too. Please be careful and hurry. Don't talk to strangers. I'm cold, you guys. My bad. I had to turn off the heater so I could prop up the my phone on there.
I gave you the dryer.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Please be careful.
I will do.
Look at all of this. I don't even know what. Crumbs.
I'll do it, I promise.
So nasty. Ugh. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so anyways, anyone who's been along for the ride, I've gone live on these phone calls before, like numerous times. And you guys have been equally as appalled as I've been. I've even called Springfield and said to Springfield, what in the mother is going on, And Springfield has said the same thing. Call your local alderman. There's nothing we can do unless the state changes policy. There's nothing we can do. And I am appalled by this. I mean, I am a person who has years worth of training in these fields. I know my rights and my voice is silenced. As I was just discussing with Xavier, what chance are we giving the rest of society? Not many people spend 10 years learning about their medical and healthcare rights, So they just go off of what they're told. It's really disgusting to me. It's sickening. It makes me feel as though I'm not in the United States. It makes me feel as though I'm in some sort of a third world situation where people don't have the right to healthcare. It's disturbing to me. And not only is it disturbing to me, the combination of text messages that I receive saying disturbing things about my baby or my children that I already have, and many other topics, combined with all of these very weird real life circumstances, like the limits in the doctors that I'm allowed to see and choose, that scares me. How would I be looking for a doctor for months and all of a sudden, with no assistance from anyone, one random person calls me and says, oh, did you need a doctor's appointment? Okay, great. Here it is. It's at this time and this location. Here, this is where you go. So I don't have the right to choose, and that's not right. We all have the right to choose, every single one of us, for ourselves and for our own health care. So I didn't want to accept the appointment because, as I said before, I can't find much research about this doctor. The doctor looks young enough to be my daughter. I mean, she looks probably 19, 20 years old. I'm 36. I have a 17-year-old daughter. I'm just not comfortable. And we're at 20 weeks of pregnancy now. I know my baby's healthy. I've ordered all my own stuff. So I have a primary care physician. He's an awesome person and care team. He has multiple people who work with him. I believe it's up to 10 now and 2 locations. So I continue to work with him, and he's aware as well that there's been these intrusions. And I sent him updates. This is who I called today for medical care. This is what I was told. I've been oppressed out of this opportunity, etc., and so forth. And just having all of this documented in so many places, that's what keeps me alive. That's what keeps these cases alive, and that's what keeps hope alive. In addition to that, you know, the young age of this woman, I'm also a little bothered by the fact that they called me the day before Thanksgiving, and I've been looking for a doctor for many months now, many months. It's not so much what they're doing that makes me bothered. It's the order and frequency that they're doing it in. I know intuitively that something is not right. I know. I can feel something is not right. The people who answer the phone are ghetto or dumb or like valley girls who have never even graduated middle school sounding. Like they're like, hello? I'm sorry, did you just say, hello? I'm pretty sure this is how you answer the phone when you work at the hospital. Hi, thank you for calling. This is Heather. How may I help you? Or Northwestern Hospital. This is Heather. How may I direct your call? Or hi, thank you so much for calling. How may I help you? Something like that, right? You don't answer the phone. If you're really an employee of the hospital, you don't answer the phone like this. Hello? Am I right or am I wrong here? You know? And these are the types of cues that I've consistently been receiving to tell me something is not right. Something is majorly off. And it's very bothersome that I continue to involve law enforcement at every angle, from a local jurisdiction. So I'm talking like 18th district, and up higher to the entire city of Chicago. I walk out to see my children in Portage Park and O'Hare all the time, Rosemont, Harwood Heights. I have personal relationships and experience with many of those officers, yet those officers are not speaking to that personal experience. Those officers are saying, we know she's not crazy, we know something's going on, and then just dropping the buck. Well, if you know that I'm not crazy and you know that something's going on, why are you not escalating it a step up? And if they are we not having possible problems with government jurisdictions and authorities moving up the chain? I've begun recently connecting with a lot of aldermen from Chicago's north and south sides because that's mainly what I deal with. As I said, I've lived as far north as Portage Park. I temporarily stayed for about a month in the Evanston area, and I've lived as far south as the South Loop. I've never really lived farther than that, but I have stayed in Airbnbs in those areas. So I get, you know, a real idea for what life is like down there, transportation, the culture, etc., and so forth. And when I say I've stayed in an Airbnb on the south side, I mean like for a month, 4 weeks at a time. All of this is relevant because the world has not ended, you know, so there is jurisdiction somewhere. If I can't get it where I am currently, I move around and look for it there. I know that there are aldermen in place right now. Are they real? I couldn't tell you. Are they the same aldermen as, you know, prior to the pandemic of 2019? I really don't know. So I guess that's where I'm looking for law enforcement to formally fill in the gaps and begin communicating with me. If I can't be, you know, acknowledged with my human right of knowing why I'm being funneled to one specific doctor and not permitted to choose my physician, we're not living in a free society that's constitutionally sound. You know, we're living in, I don't even know where, like I said, a third world country, some sort of dictatorship. This is not the way life works in the United States, right? I'm 36 years old. I've been choosing my own doctor since I was 17. So what is going on? And that's it, you guys. I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm completely over energized from sitting in this fucking tent for 7 whole days, have only been out to go potty, and then coming right back in. Xavier's father said he was going to get us an apartment, but that was a week ago. I sent him multiple listings. We've not heard a single word back, so our fingers are still crossed. As I said before, I have 7 open tickets with 311 that have all been ignored. All of these are individual lawsuits, all of them. They're all violations of civil rights, human rights, constitutional rights, morals, and ethics. Babe?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I was fixing the grate.
Are you choking?
No, I was fixing the grate. It's good now. I'm gonna hurry up.
I heard you on the right.
No, I was going all around and fixing the grate.
Please hurry and be careful.
All right, I love you.
I love you too. And again, if everything was okay, then guess what? I would be at home with my children right now, not sitting in a tent. So again, to this day, 4 years into this experience, law enforcement has told me absolutely nothing. They have given me absolutely no direction, no reassurance, nothing at all of the sorts. They've been compassionate at times, but basically they appear to be confused. They don't have any answers. I say to them, how is it possible that I'm not being prevented services, through 311? We don't know. How is it possible that living with someone on parole who is actively using drugs and alcohol and having a firearm in the house, how is it possible that that person was permitted to keep my house and I've been outside ever since? We don't know. Well, are you going to find out? Are you going to start looking into it? Because we're in year 4 now. We are in year 4 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years. 4 fucking years. My vehicle has been destroyed. My home has been destroyed. And I have been separated from my children who have been in my full custody for their entire lives from the moments of their birth all the way through 2020. When am I going to get some answers? So that's what I do, you guys. I document everything everywhere. I go to as many hospitals as possible. I order my own tests through my primary care physician, meaning lab work, meaning ultrasounds, meaning anything that I need diagnostically for myself. I either go to him and explain to him and then he'll give me the order, or I simply call over the phone, and we have a long time relationship. He knows that I know my body, and he will listen to me describe the situation. Pardon me. And he will listen to me describe the situation, and then he will authorize those orders. So I've never been without medical care, but I've definitely been without consistent medical care from anyone other than my primary care physician. And that's also strategic, like I just said, going and passing out a narrative that's half a page long that has all my direct links to all of the video of the bludgeoning and my hospitalization following the bludgeoning, the video of the police report numbers that I filed when my apartment in Harwood Heights was broken into, the video of my ex ingesting nitrous oxide and saying, so what, I beat the fuck out of you. That's the one on parole. So all of that stuff is publicly posted. All of that is pivotal in understanding this case and all the cases connected to it. And all of it can be found publicly here on Instagram, YouTube, and many other social media platforms. I pass out a piece of paper to law enforcement that I encounter, as well as any sort of medical staff that I meet or encounter. It is in my legal medical record. It is in my DHS case. It is everywhere. It is everywhere. Every lawyer I meet, my family members, it is everywhere. So there is no bullshitting. You are not going to say that, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You are not going to say that I was out partying rather than being a mother. You are not going to say that I am not filing police reports or that I am involved in any way in any of these disgusting filth that's going on around here. You could say it, but we can prove otherwise. So it's exhausting, you guys. For those of you who have been with me this entire process, I know there have been a lot of you since the ManyVids days, documenting all of this tremendous adversity. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. I am waiting for the day that I win a settlement, that I begin being in receipt of restitution, especially for the violent crimes that have been done unto me, especially for the time I've been unlawfully separated from my children, especially from the unlawful detainments and robberies of my property and physical home, my car, etc., and so forth. I believe with my entire heart and soul that I will receive the restitution that I deserve, which, according to my lawyers and many other lawyers I've spoken with, is in the neighborhood of $12,800,600. And that's everything from the unlawful detainment in the psychiatric ward to the unlawful detainment in Elmhurst and Delnor hospitals, unlawfully documenting that there was a psychiatric issue that I was there for when I was actually there because I had been dosed and was vomiting and pooping and unconscious, found by paramedics. All of this is very well documented, and all of this has a dollar amount. Every single part of it. Every part. As I said before, every one day that I'm separated from my children has a dollar amount, and we're at 4 years. What's the price that you would allocate towards someone stealing you away from your children? $100 a day per child? $1,000 a day per child? What do you think would be fair? I bought a $15,000 car. 2 months after I paid it off, it was destroyed and stolen from me. I was unlawfully thrown out of my own home at 2037 West Roscoe, and that resulted in me being intentionally sleep deprived and then sexually assaulted. I won't usually I say something out of frustration that's very vulgar and vivid to give you guys an idea of what happened. No one other than law enforcement threw me out of my home. Law enforcement and the criminal justice system. And the tape that you guys saw on One Heather GEE that has law enforcement standing outside of my home and me explaining to them what was going on, a photo of the padlock that Dylan was attempting to install in my bedroom door, and a video of him smoking nitrous oxide while on parole, freshly out of prison, clearly having a drug problem that I reported to his immediate supervisors. All of that can be found publicly on Instagram. And the result of the inaction and the mishandling of all of those things, that's what landed me out in the street being sexually assaulted. That's what landed me having my vehicle stolen. Do you think that if I was safe in my home at 2037 West Roscoe and Dylan would have been taken in, for substance abuse therapy or counseling, that any of that would have happened? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have been raped and sleep deprived for 5 days and then sexually assaulted in the street in cold blood. Absolutely not. If you have a safe home to sleep in and you have your own vehicle to get to and from work like I had, not because anyone gifted it to me, because I worked my ass off for it, I would have never been raped. What's the price for a woman being sleep deprived for 5 days and then sexually assaulted when she screams, "No, please stop"? What's the price for that? So I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great day. I have not given up. I am documenting meticulously. We are in year 4. Every day that passes is an increase in that dollar amount. Viviana, Lewis, Alexis, I love you so much. I can't wait for us all to meet your baby brother. We haven't decided on a name yet, but we have been talking about Weston possibly. Xavier really likes that. I like it, but at the same time, I feel like it doesn't really go. Like I have a Viviana, Luis, Alexis, and they all have Hispanic last names. So I'm white, mostly Italian, Irish, and American. I have some Cherokee Indian. And I was raised, very cultured. I was raised in many different cultures. I was raised a whole year of my adolescence in a third world country, Jamaica. Babe?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I forgot to latch.
So not really like your traditional, like regular American person. I'm like kind of everything. And then my children's fathers are all Hispanic something, either Ecuadorian or Mexican. And Xavier is Mexican and Lebanese. So all of our babies have some sort of Hispanic flair, and I kind of want to keep the name thing going, like with that. My daughter Alexis is Alexis Alicia. My daughter Viviana is Viviana Maria. My son is Luis Alejandro. So I kind of like, Weston is like so white. I like it, but we would have to do a definite Hispanic middle name just to keep it all like, flowing. If you guys have any suggestions, drop them in the comments. Again, as I said, thank you guys so much for being there to support me. If you guys are here in the comments being nasty and hateful, I saw a bunch of toots being dropped and some other nasty rhetoric that we've definitely charged people for already because they're repeat offenders. There are no new people jumping into my dialogue saying these things. It's a bunch of people from 4 years ago who have not been charged yet who deserve to be charged. So please keep showing up. In addition to that, the one and only last thing I'll say is I have been through hell, more than hell. I have been through things that no human being should be through ever in their lives ever. And I have not treated anyone, even a fraction, as disgusting as the way that I've been treated. I don't know what some of you must be going through. I don't know what type of abuses you must be enduring. But I will pray that you receive the peace that you need, that will ultimately bring me and the rest of the world the peace that we need. Because there is no one at all, and I've said this before, there's no one in existence who deserves to be treated the way that I've been treated. And that's from a pedophile to a child molester. Just kill them and put them right out of their misery. That's it. You don't treat someone with such disdain and torture people. The people who engage in torturing others or extending someone's life to torture them, they don't have any place in modern day society. And you could ask my peers. The society that we're building, the society where we all have enough, where there is no one living in lack, where there is no one going around harassing someone so that they feel sad and miserable. That's the society that I'm working towards. That's the society that my team is working towards. And that's the only society that I want to welcome into my communities, any of my social communities, any of my in-person communities, any of my communities, period. So if you're here being awful, I highly recommend you leave. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll let you know how the doctor's appointment goes. If there's any sponsors in the crowd, we recently had like 4 or 5 sponsors disappear again. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if maybe they just ran home to go get more like supplies, or I really don't know what's going on. But people have been very, very generous, and for that we're very grateful. And if you want to donate any time, money, advocacy, if you'd like to be helping making calls towards the court system and, presenting my legal name, Heather Gillespie, and saying, hey, we have questions on her behalf, please continue to feel free to do so. I very, very, very much appreciate it. Also, if someone could check on all 3 of my children, as well as Nick Albuquerque. I have not heard from my mother or my sister in nearly a year. I spoke with my father yesterday, so I think he's okay. But my main concern at this point is going to be Sam Worley, Nick Albuquerque, and obviously, as always, my children. So thank you guys again. Talk to you later.